Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome back to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Pepper.
And today, as part of our Stonemaier, we are going to be giving our CHIPPI review of My Little Scythe. And you can check out our other Stonemaier themed videos. We'll be putting one out every day in the month of September.
Yes, celebrating 10 years of Stonemaier Games.
That is true. So if you like Stonemaier Games as much as we do, definitely check out those other videos.
Yeah, this one came out about right in the middle of all of the games that they've released. I believe it was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Six,
right
seven.
about in the middle,
Yeah.
currently, what they have. And yeah, it kind of came from if you've ever played Scythe, that's kind of what it's based off of. Yep. Has a lot of this similar feel. There's a few same feeling things in it, but it is a much more family-friendly version of the game. I believe it was created by like a father and child duo. Kind of the idea of it to kind of make it more kid-friendly, I think, so they could kind of play it together. And then I think they posted on Board Game Geek or something, and Jamie ended up finding that and must have thought it was a good idea enough to actually turn it into a game.
Yeah, cool story.
Yeah. So yeah, then we'll get right into our CHIPPI rating. If you haven't seen that before, Pepper can explain it slightly.
Yeah, we kind of have a few different categories that we rate for the game. So CHIPPI, it's core mechanics, history, investment, presentation, preference, and it factor. And we have those weighted a little bit differently, some more importantly than others, and that kind of comes to a final score.
So yeah, you can kind of get an idea of kind of what our thoughts are anyway of the different categories.
Yep.
Yeah.
Starting off with core mechanics, I give this one a 6 for core mechanics. It's kind of, I mean, don't want to compare it to Scythe, but like, it is pretty much that, like a lighter family version of Scythe. You're kind of taking actions on your board. You can't repeat the actions. Sometimes you can, but usually you can't. And kind of going out, controlling resources on the board, not gaining them to your personal supply, which is something I'm not really a big fan of in Scythe or My Little Scythe. Just kind of having stuff out there and someone could take them from you with a battle. And the battling in this is interesting.
The pie fights?
The pie fights, yes. You aren't battling with mechs in this. You are throwing pies at each other.
You can kind of see the cover. It is kind of, you can see it's more of I don't know what type of art style it's considered, but kind of I don't know if you call it the baby or younger versions of the animals that are kind of with the different factions inside.
Yeah.
Including I believe, one of the expansions.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
Yeah, I think, and the race to complete 4 objectives, and that being all that scores at the end of the game, feels a little lacking, I would say. In this, it just feels very swingy. Like, you can have it go your way, and you can complete objectives like in like the first or second turn, and just have a huge advantage. And you can't complete 2 at a time, and sometimes
until the end.
Yeah, until the end. Sometimes when you do move down on that friendship track, when you really needed to count one or complete an objective because you're going to complete multiple in a row, and it's like, oh wait, I lost friendship, so now I can't do that, and I can really kind of screw up your plans more than I would think could happen in a family version of the game. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of just the Scythe system, and this is a lighter version. Doesn't really make it much better for me. But it is more approachable.
Yeah, I'm coming in with a 7. I think kind of after I've heard what you've said, I'd probably maybe put it down a little bit to maybe a 6.5 or something. But I do like the core mechanisms in the game. I think they work really well for what it's trying to do, being the more friendly version. But I can see kind of the piece to that where some of the things I do think that only having to get 4 of the objectives makes it's good because it makes it quick, but at the same time
very quick.
It makes it sometimes it makes it almost too quick, and I feel like that could, depending on where things go out onto the board, when you're kind of adding them on there, it could kind of swing just based on something very lucky. A little more than the actual base game of Scythe. But I do like that action selection system of Scythe a lot. So I think that's why I'm being a little more generous with the score. But yeah, then there's no variable player powers like there are in Scythe. So I shouldn't be comparing it to necessarily that, because I really love Scythe. And this one just does that, but with doing a lot less. So I would say maybe, it should have maybe been a little lower for me, but I think for what it's trying to do, it's a very clean system and works. And I think if you were trying to play it more as a family or with kids and stuff, I think it definitely works or has the right mechanisms for that type of level of play.
I like the kind of resource production action, of rolling and being able to put it possibly where other players are to gain friendship. But then, like you said, if you just roll multiple of a color and you do want to gain friendship, and that person's going to gain a ton of resources and be able to upgrade their tiles, which is one of the objectives, or buy cards, which is one of the objectives, and so on. So it can really swing the game.
Or sometimes, if you're trying to just roll those to get a friendship, and then no one, you end up rolling the spaces that, or the areas that no one's on. It can kind of suck a little bit, because it's like, well, I'm not really moving myself forward with this. I just wanted to claim that friendship one, because that's kind of one of the things you can gain. But overall, I think it works well, but I think it is a lighter game, which that's why maybe for a personal I should have had it a little bit lower, but I think it works. So then history, I've played it 3 times. One of those times was quite a while ago, so I added it in here, but it's been a while since that play.
I played this 2 times, which I think makes this probably our least played Stonemaier game. I mean, Between Two Cities is pretty new to us. We haven't played that one as much, but I think it's still the least played.
Yep, and then we get into investment, which is where I'm going to give it a 6.5. Where, I mean, going back to comparing it against Scythe again, I think there's just a lot more variability in that one, which gives it more and more repeat plays, because you're comboing the boards differently each time, whereas this one, you just get a different scoring objective card that kind of makes one of the trophies a little easier to obtain, which I also don't know that those are all necessarily equal in ease of getting them, but it does make it a little bit less. But it is a shorter version of Scythe, so if a shorter, friendlier version, or I don't know about friendlier, but shorter, easier version of Scythe.
If you watch our playthrough, there was quite a bit of battling.
Yes. So I guess if that's what you would want, that would be, but I don't think that's what I want. It to be just a quick, because it's another kind of puzzle of, like you said, all that scores at the end is if you got 4 trophies. It's the only way you have a chance to win, so it's like, I'm just going to do this as quickly as possible. It is a puzzle of a race, trying to get done as quickly as possible. Then one of the things which can happen in Scythe too, but in this one, it felt like you knew it a lot earlier. Sometimes I think you may know it's over. Before, like, you'd have no chance before maybe the final few turns, just because someone's pretty much going to be done, and you can't really take the actions you need to do.
Especially since you can only complete one objective a turn,
until
they could have multiple stored up, and it's like, oh, they already have that completed, they're going to get that their next turn.
Right. I would say, it's just not, to me, it doesn't feel like it's going to be quite as replayable.
I have this at a 6.75, which is actually the same score as I had for Scythe, where I think, like you said, there's a lot more depth and variability in Scythe, and a lot more replayability. This one wins easily in kind of the time investment and kind of how much brain you have to actually put in to play the game. And it makes it just a lot more approachable.
This one's much easier to get to the table too. Scythe has a lot more setup and teardown.
We played it 2 times back to back, and
probably the amount of time it'd take to play.
We'd probably still be, because we played it 2 times back to back, filmed the second one. Now we're filming this. We'd probably still be playing the base game of Scythe.
Right.
But yeah, so it wins there, but definitely not as much variability.
Yep. Then we get into presentation.
Ooh.
Which, what do you have for this?
I have an 8 here.
Okay.
Which is also what I gave Scythe for presentation.
Okay, now that's way wrong. I love the artwork inside, and I love the wooden pieces and stuff too. So that me being a big fan of that stuff, I mean, easily has a high rating.
I really like the artwork here, or at least
8's still a high score.
Yeah. The characters I really like the kind of, I guess, is it chibi or whatever, kind of big heads. Very cute, and the miniatures are really, really well done in this one, as well as Scythe, which you can watch our CHIPPI review on that to see what we think of those minis. But yeah, great things here, and those gems and the apples are really nice as well. I like them. Yeah, just a solid production. Not like top tier, but a lot of good stuff.
I guess, is there anything that brings it down at all for you?
I didn't really notice anything super negative that felt weird or out of place.
Okay. I was just wondering if there's a reason why it was an 8 or whatever.
I mean,
versus being...
just like the board is. I mean, it's very colorful, but like it's a little weird colorful. Like for a map, I've never seen a map so colorful. But I don't know. It just yeah,
no, that's fair.
It's not.
But I'm gonna give it a 9.
Ooh, 9.
I actually really love the minis. They look really awesome, and it seems like a very kid-friendly type of miniature. And like you said, the apples and the gems I really love. They're pretty good quality. I actually really like the board. I said it. I think it's a pretty well laid out board. It makes it easy to see kind of what the colored areas are. You don't want to.
Yeah. Well,
I like that it does that. I would say the one negative, the dice.
Yeah, I do like the board quite a bit. This is nice.
I feel like the dice colors are kind of hard to tell a little bit sometimes.
They are hard to tell.
So that would be my only negative with that. Is that the dice could have been a little bit better because it's sometimes tough to tell which area
I do
to
like
add
the
it to.
board quite a bit. I like the little Easter eggs, the little goat in the mountains.
And I like that.
Better board
I like how it's all
Scythe.
laid out with the cards and stuff on there. I think it all kind of makes sense with where everything is too. So the organization's pretty solid as well. And the box, I think, is just the right size. It didn't try to be more than what it was. Then we get into preference. And this is where I give it a 6. And it could maybe even be a little lower. I just don't know that I'm going to take this one out unless I was playing with kids or something, trying to find a game. That was that. But I still feel like I could probably find something else that's also more family friendly. But yeah, if I'm going to play for a Scythe experience, I'm just going to play. I'd much rather play Scythe. I really, really enjoy Scythe. So it sounds like I might be really negative towards this, but it's just because I love Scythe so much that it makes it hard when I'm comparing a game that's pretty much doing the same thing for that to live up to it. Especially when it's not trying to be like, oh, we're gonna take Scythe and take it to the next level type thing. So it's not trying to do that, and I think with what it's trying to do, it's really good. But then too, if I was like, oh, if you'd say, well, what if you want a shorter game or whatever? I think I'd rather pick other shorter games over this as well. So I just don't see where it would get into playing it. So I think this would be more of one that, I guess, if someone suggested or wanted to try it, I would definitely be willing to play it then. But it's just probably not one that I'm ever really going to suggest myself, unless, like, if someone had asked for like certain pieces of a type of game or something, and then that kind of matched along with that. I guess I would suggest it in that case, but not really as a suggestion just from me just pulling something off the shelf.
Yeah, I agree pretty much. I have a 6 as well, which is actually higher than my Scythe one.
Wow.
But, I mean, It is.
Scythe is a longer game, a little longer game.
It is
but it's set
longer.
up and tear down.
And I feel like I could win this one, so then it bumps it up a little bit. But I like some parts to it, and like you said, it's a great production and quick to play, and I think that just gets it a little higher in that, get it off the shelf for me.
But yeah, then we get into It Factor. I'm just going to give it a 3. I think it's a cool gimmick, and the miniatures are really nice. I think with what it's trying to be, it's has a really wholesome look to it, nice family look. So I can appreciate it for that. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's too much about it that's like, wow, this is amazing. It just has a lot of similar things to Scythe. So, and I think they did a pretty good job of making a lighter version of it. Yeah, I have it at a 4 It Factor. It's kind of hard to figure It Factor. But yeah, it is a lighter game, and I think those are a little harder to have It Factor probably. And it is kind of a Scythe game, but it doesn't really carry the weight that the Scythe name does for It Factor, at least for me. But yeah, it still is solid, quick, very colorful, beautiful production. But yeah, it doesn't really do much that really stands out. Yeah, I would agree. So then we get into overall ratings. Gives me a total of 6.1. And I'm coming in at a 6.5. So probably not our most favorite game, but I also don't know that it was designed for us. So I think that's something to kind of think about. If that seems like your type of game, something a little bit lighter or something that's more approachable if you have younger kids and stuff, then I would definitely look into this one more and see if this looks like something that you guys would be into. But I don't know if you played Scythe and you're like, oh, I want another experience like that. I don't know that this would be the one that I would recommend for that. Yeah, probably not. But yeah, I think it has its place as to what it's trying to do, I think so. And I think it does that one pretty well, what it's trying to do. Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said. Yeah. What part don't you agree with? Everything. Not everything. Everything I don't agree with. I disagree with everything you just said. I agree with everything you said. Okay. Except that I don't like Scythe, so there we go. That's true. So that's a little bit of a spoiler for our Scythe Chippy, but I'm not going to spoil my number for my Scythe, but I was within 0.5. Oh boy. Rating. I was quite a ways away. Yeah. So you'll have to see. You'll have to see where that ends up for me. But yeah, well, that one should already be out, so you can check that one out if you haven't already. But otherwise, that was our Chippy reviews of My Little Scythe. If you want to see more Stone Timber or other videos that we've got out there, definitely subscribe or just go check out the channel, see if you find anything else that looks interesting. But otherwise, we hope to see you on the next video, and as always, don't forget to
keep on nibbling
on our content
and those pies.